This is America's heartland, where being old-fashioned isn't. This isn't Fifth Avenue or Sunset Boulevard, but Main Street America, a place where old values still hold, and where you might still hear a brass band playing in a town square on a cool summer's evening.
Here among the Midwest pines and farm fields, the world of Drum and Bugle Corps came of age, a watershed in Whitewater. This site, now Perkins Stadium on the University of Wisconsin campus of Whitewater, played host to the first Drum Corps International World Championship in 1972. And here we are 50 years later, in the very place where it all began. So much has changed, but the essence of Drum Corps remains the same. This activity that has meant so much to previous generations means every bit as much to the Corps members of today. And that, my friends, is a legacy worth celebrating.
Morning, friends. You all look different in person. It's good to see you. Normally, I've emceed a couple of shows this season where Doug Madar from Carolina Crown was the oldest person in the stands. Doug, I think Larry Seeney from Blue Rock has you beat today, so you probably do. This is great. This is a gathering to celebrate 50 years. I'm just going to tell you what I told the audience last night as we opened the cinema show. There were a lot of questions coming into this season and a return to competitive drum corps. Were we going to be able to pull this off in the face of extreme weather, temperatures almost as high as the gas prices, and the lingering effects of COVID? And those drum and bugle corps got goosebumps. Boy, did they ever rise to the occasion. Last night was absolutely magnificent. It was a night that was such a pleasure to share. Throughout the off season, I've had a lot of fun working with Jeff Hardowitz and the DCI team preparing pieces that go back and tell our history. And digging into some of that archival stuff has been absolutely wonderful, and talking to the people that helped shape what we became and got us to who and what we are. In fact, I had someone stop me, I think, at the Winston-Salem show, and he said, where do you find the archives? Where do you get all this information? And he said, Steve Vickers and Drum Corps World. I said, yeah, part of it. And I said, DCI's got some pretty good archives. Oh, wait a minute. Hell, I lived all of this. I guess I'm a living archive at this point. And a lot of you in this room are living archives. My friends, so many of us have become the institutional memory of this activity, and it is just a wonderful thing to watch us continue to evolve. Here is where I'm supposed to insert a shameless pitch for the Leaders Serving Leaders fundraiser. This is Dan's passion. These young people are absolutely phenomenal. And again, to see what they have overcome this season and to help them become the leaders of tomorrow is what this fundraiser and other fundraisers are all about. Tom shot a piece with this quote from Nola Jones jumped out at me at the end of this piece. She said, when I'm old and in a nursing home and I don't know where I am, I want the people who march Drum Corps making the decisions for me in this country, because they know how to handle things, they know how to process things, they know how to overcome things. And boy, those are the leaders that I hope we are building here every year, every season, both on and off the field. Part of my other duties is as chairman of the Hall of Fame. I've gotten to know some wonderful folks, and unfortunately, none of us is getting any younger. And aging is not for the timid. However, it's something we must do and savor the process and savor the relationships and friendships that we have, because as we get older, we realize how much they mean to us. And we've lost some friends here recently, and we want to pay them honor. In memoriam this year, and here's hoping my name and yours aren't up there next year. You better watch it, Madar. You're pushing 100. With that, we've got a lot more to come, and a couple things. You've got these beautiful books that DCI has given you as part of this. Inside those books is an orange ticket. And if you have an empty seat next to you, you better leaf through those, because if you're the lucky person with that orange ticket, you get to take that beautiful centerpiece and the flowers home with you. The only drawback is you have to wear the shako to the show tonight. And do not take the vase. You cannot take the vase, or the hotel people will stop you at the door. With that, let's eat. Tony DiCarlo said we're getting behind on the clock, and Jill Moyer's back there holding up cards. So if we could, take our seats, and we'll have a lot of time to visit after the program. Thank you. It's half the fun of doing a drum corps thing, though, is seeing all these people you only see once a year. The transition of Drum Corps International to Indianapolis was certainly one of the biggest bellwether things in the 50-year history of the activity. To have a permanent home And as I was preparing to go on the air last night, we were 7, 8 cores in, I think, and I walked out of the room that we use as studio and looked out the window, and it was raining cats and dogs. And I said, ain't it grand to have a roof? Yeah. I know, open the roof, let's see what it sounds like. But, you know, we had so many weather challenges this year that it was daunting. And with what we're hearing about the climate future, we're going to be relying on our weather gurus even more closely, right, guys? But that stadium was a godsend yesterday, and our relationship with Indianapolis has been something very, very special. And we are so grateful to be here and to be able to call Indy home. Worked out for me being down the road in French Lick for 10, 11 years. That was very handy. The guy who made it happen, though, came to drum corps late in life, but once he got here, he wrapped us up in both arms. Matt Carter, who is with Visit Indy, is the guy who put the deal together and has kept this relationship as rich and rewarding as it has. So I'd like to bring Matt Carter, Visit Indy VP of Destination Development. Good to see you, sir.
I will try and be brief, but the staff that works with me know that's an impossible feat. But I want to say it in this context. I was introduced to this activity. I was in band, and I saw the merits of band in my life. And of all things, a girl I was dating's grandmother invited me in 1978 to go on the east side of town to see what she said, I have season tickets to a drum corps show. And I was somewhat familiar with this because of the PBS broadcasts that my family would celebrate. I played drum in the drum line and snare in the drum line, and my brothers were all trombone players. And we marveled at the sound that you got. I can remember the first time I heard The Spirit of Atlanta, 1978 on that east side of town. And I was like, I've played in band and jazz band, and I've never had goosebumps on my arms and my hands, my hair stand up, and I'm sitting with a girlfriend, and I got invited by her grandmother who was 80 years old, and I'm actually enjoying something that would be. And it was extraordinary. And there are so few things in life that can bring together the diversity, the difference. I've often said that if you look at a drum corps on the field and you peel the uniform away and you see the array of people that have figured out how to come together and get along to do something together, the nation would be well served, no more so than right now. And we have a monument on Monument Circle that people forget. There's a lady on top that stands for liberty and freedom. And people don't understand that liberty and freedom is something that our Union Station, and the fact that the Army Payroll Center was here, was where many people went off to war. And so the Pentagon will tell you that folks who served in Indiana served in the volunteer military to fight for freedom in a way that a lot of people don't understand. So when you see monuments around Indianapolis, it's because lives were given for that liberty and freedom. And we have variations on the theme of liberty and freedom, as we can see play out in our nation. But I am reminded by the role of the arts in terms of being able to, with empathy, bring people together and not necessarily understand that they're beginning to understand a complex problem, a complex challenge, a complex anything, and do it together in a way that helps bring people along. You represent a history of people who get that. And I want to end with this. There was an event that we used to have in the faith-based community called Praise Gathering for Believers. It was Bill and Gloria Gaither. And they brought together people of faith and wanted to test their faith on the fringes by bringing new ideas to the fringe, but to come with people that they knew and they trusted, so that when those conversations were held, they weren't shut down, they were discovered and they were discussed. And I thought of what I wanted to say here, and Praise Gathering has a faith overtone. This is a praise gathering room. you understand the entirety of what the drum corps activity means to society. You understand not just its artistry and its musicianship. You understand its humanity. And that is something worthy of celebrating. And I know you've come through a really, really tough time. And I have to tell you, Indianapolis pursued you because we saw your potential. And we saw your potential because of influences in my life, but that had to be bought into by other people as well. And we will continue to do our best to come alongside Drum Corps International as you figure out the strength of your future, because we need it here and across the nation. And we applaud you, the family, the alumni, the friends who understand that. But I would remind you, it is more than just what you enjoy. It is so much more than what you enjoy. And I think you're going to find, as a good friend of mine in Atlanta said one time, you may feel like you're starving to death right now, but you're sitting on a gold mine. And we look forward to, as a city, as a people, as a place, to helping you unlock that gold mine so that other people don't just see its intrinsic entertainment value, but see how it is a salve that can address so many of the issues we face as a society, and do it in a way that's sitting in a stands in between corps, explaining what the show meant. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? How come the judge did this? But doing it in a level of decorum that is inviting and attractive. And so for that, Dan, the board of directors, the corps directors, the activity that you guys have created that celebrates 50. I won't be here for the next 50 when you have 100, but we will look forward to a praise-gathering homecoming that celebrates 50 more years, where this is at an entirely different level, and that the universe understands the power of music, and not just entertaining, but in terms of unlocking the potential best in each and every person that calls this place home. So welcome back. We're glad you're here, and we look forward to 2 more days of great performances, but more importantly, great conversations. Thank you.
Pretty good partner to have, I'd say. Thank you, Matt. A lot of people have made this 50 years happen, and the group that got us through the pandemic and got us to where we are today, we're a competitive bunch. Let's just confront that. We want to beat the other guys' heads in, right? Sure. I have never seen the corps, the directors, the organizations pulled together as a cohesive entity as they have done to get us through this 2 to 3 years of hell with this pandemic. It has been most gratifying to see from when we did that March 4th telethon, 2 years ago, 2 springs ago? We didn't know what the heck was going to happen, but you folks anteed up, and we kept the doors open, the lights on, and well, we limped along for a bit, but we've come roaring back, and that is a testament, number one, to the DCI Board of Directors. Directors who are here, please stand. Board of Directors, Drum Corps International. We're also in the presence of history. Our DCI founding corps, thankfully, we've been able to get most of them on video over the years, and we have one of them with us in the room today, Mr. Larry Sini of Blue Rock. Who can forget the pink elephant, right? We chatted with Ralph Pace about that in one of our pieces. John Jones is in town somewhere, as Don Warren told the story on the Brass Roots documentary. Yeah, you see? We were all sitting around trying to come up with a name for this organization, and somebody said Drum Corps National. Yeah, we put that on the board, and the guy from Canada puts his hand up and says, what about us? De La Salle Oaklands, and thus we became DCI, Drum Corps International. So if you see John out and about, shake his hand and say, hey. In fact, Toronto, they got a notch in our history, the only city to have 2 corps in the finals in the same year. Seneca Optimists and Oakland Crusaders. And it was good to see Les Stentors in the open class finals. So let's get it going again. And Calgary Show Band is here as well. If you haven't had a chance to see them, they'll be at Sound Sport. They're a lot of fun. Hall of Famers, DCI Hall of Famers, stand and be recognized if you would. Now, I do tend to go off script sometimes, which makes Blair crazy. But guys, follow me here with a camera, if you will, and maybe a light. Young lady, would you please stand up? Ladies and gentlemen, I had the pleasure of doing a Zoom interview with this young lady. This, my friends, is a trailblazer, one of the incredible brass instructors of the early era. This is Sandra Opie, my friends. There we go. Wave to your public. So I was in awe of that Argonne Rebels horn line, as were most of us back then. Having a chance to talk to her and then realizing what you did, how you did it. She gave every kid in that corps private lessons before, tell the story, before school.
Right, whenever they would come. I'm surprised they came back, really.
You do have a reputation as a bit of a taskmaster.
I think perhaps.
Perhaps. But what you did, that was such fun in this interview because you didn't want the drum corps public to know this corps was being instructed by a woman. Talk about that.
Well, that's correct. I told my husband, be sure you don't let anybody know your wife is the horn instructor.
That would have been Glenn Opie.
And I didn't want anybody to know that because sometimes I went through school and I never had any problem. I went to college and I ran into it a little bit because I was the only woman in the brass choir, and I played first trumpet in the orchestra and played in the band. I was a trumpet major, and that was odd then. That was not the norm.
Right.
So I didn't want the kids to have to pay the price for that.
Pay the price for that.
Well, it didn't come.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to be negatively affected by that.
Well, they were very positively affected by their association with you. Ladies and gentlemen, Sandra, thank you. We finished our interview, and I said, you are coming for the 50th, aren't you? Well, maybe, and we relentlessly put some pressure on. Yeah, what a feeling it was as a kid with a bugle in your hand to walk out on the field, and over here you got Sandra Opie with a clipboard, and over here you got Truman Crawford with a clipboard. It's like, okay, I'm leaving now, forget it. I'm dead in the water. Okay, we want to recognize also, especially at least give them a shout out, because we didn't have a chance to do our Hall of Fame thing like we usually do. We turn to the virtual induction. So as I read through these names, stand up, guys. Our class of 2020, he's even wearing socks today. Tony DiCarlo. Sal Salas, and Robbie Robinson. That's our class of 2020. Class of 2021, Jay Murphy and Mike Boo. And I can tell you in this offseason, having gone to the DCI staff to help do some preparation, good Lord, do we miss Mike Boo. That guy, he was a researcher's researcher with a passion for this activity that was unbridled. You'd look at what he'd put together on a core, and it was like studying a document on a scientific experiment, the level of detail. Class of 2022, we were glad to welcome in Richard Saucedo and Brett Kuhn this year, and Gary Markham. A reminder on the Hall of Fame, anybody can nominate. And then we have a committee, and I appreciate the committee members' work as well in this off-season. We get that ballot trimmed down, and then we put it out to the Hall of Fame and core directors to vote. So if you've got somebody in mind, hey, let us know. We'd love to consider them on the ballot. All right, now Mr. Potter is going to be roaming around briefly with a microphone.
I have been stalking people.
He's stalking people.
We
just want to chat with a few of you in the crowd here, so beware.
Yeah, as you were eating breakfast, I was watching you.
Creepy.
Would you introduce yourself? Please stand up.
I'm Marianne Conboy. I'm an original 27th Lancer. I have the shirt still. This was 50 pounds ago, so the shirt was very big back in 1968. But I'm delighted to be here, and I'm a friend of DCI, and it's just the best.
My task is to talk to a few of you in the audience about what the decades of Drum Corps and Drum Corps International have meant to you and how they've shaped your life. So Marianne, can you give me the elevator version of that?
About 9 months ago, I applied for a job at a Michael's framing store, and I put on the resume that I marched in Drum Corps. The manager said, I was a trumpet player in the band, and I thought, okay, I've got this job, this is easy. And since I've been here, and I mean, I've heard people talk about the changes, and some are liked and some are not, but we are all changing, and we're all doing things differently. I bet all of you have a cell phone of some kind because you couldn't get into the stadium without it. So just saying, we're gonna change, and the technology is changing, the transportation is changing, the food for Drum Corps kids is much better than it was, and it's just a delight to see the changes and see the progress and see the fact that we're still around after 50 years.
No kidding.
Huge, and congratulations to all of you who survived the last couple of years.
Marianne Conboy. Thank you, Marianne. So, stand up, Neil. Yeah, oh, for the love of God, yeah. Many of you already know Neil Larrabee, and I singled you out here because you have been in so many different roles with this activity. Instructor, performer, company rep, but maybe the most important role you've played yet, you're playing this year, and that is as a parent of a marching member. Tell me about your son.
He's pretty good, yeah. I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud that he chose to pursue this. He's a music major at the New England Conservatory, and he felt like he had an opportunity to experience something that was missing, as wonderful as his musical background is in orchestral music. He saw an opportunity that, the window of opportunity was closing, and said, I think I really want to have that experience. I never saw that coming, to be perfectly honest with you, because he was on a different path. And what I've been able to really enjoy is not only the fact that I'm around my son in the organization I work in with the cadets, but that he has truly grown individually and that he loves to perform in our arena. And I'm proud to say that he loves being part of drum corps, and that means a lot to me.
You know, go ahead, please. Because one of the things I love most about this activity is the intergenerational aspect that so many families have. And as the father of 2 kids who got into theater instead of music, I'm extremely jealous of all of you who've had kids who have marched. We got 5 grandkids. We're working on them right now. The other reason I wanted you to stand up and talk a little bit, Neil, is that you're sitting with some Music for All friends. You now work with Music for All. Can you just comment a little bit about Drum Corps International's influence over 50 years on the marching arts in general?
Well, I think that the slogan we use, the major leagues, is in fact what it is. It's that next level of, and while we've watched bands across America, meaning the organizations themselves, rise to such phenomenal level of performance level, our activity has influenced and informed so much of what it is that's made great bands. And so I think all of us who have a part of being connected to bands know that we've made a great impact, and that's very, very rewarding. I could see that inside our organization as well. And we're all here to make a big difference. So when I think of the great organizations like DCI, Music for All, WGI, we're all, and many other organizations, we're all have a big piece of the responsibility of working together to help lift everybody professionally and musically and performing arts.
There's that word together again, and it goes just not just within our fandom and our little part of the world, but it goes to the rest of the music industry as well.
It absolutely is. I think it's one of the best and most beautiful things is that we have this shared community. So many of us cross into all of these areas. So for us to be together is so very, very important.
Thanks, Neil.
Thank you.
One more. Follow me, Joe. Mary Ann Comboy thought she was cool in her 27th Lancer shirt. I see so many Corps jackets, like this beautiful example of a VK Corps jacket from back in the day, Velvet Knights. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Linda Ressler.
Linda, you marched VK, I assume?
I did not. My daughter did. We're from Illinois. So.
She got you the jacket then?
Yes, she did. I worked on tour for 7 years and performed a lot of things. You know, Jack was a taskmaster, so anyway.
God bless Jack Bevins.
Yeah, and so I earned my jacket doing a lot of things. And,
like what?
Let's see. At Madison one year, we won the chili cook-off, the first the first international chili cook-off that DCI had, and we actually made it into the book that they sent to different people to promote drum corps. And 2 years later, well, there I am. I didn't even know it. But anyway, but the Velvet Knights won a lot of things, maybe not on the field, but they tried their best and they did things. Last night, Carolina Crown did the wave, which the Velvet Knights did first. Okay. So I figure we're still being thought of because every year you can see a corps, like last night, that is one of our tricks, and they're still doing them. Yeah. And last night I had my corps pants on. We sold $125,000 worth of those pants. And that's what the Corps wore that year, but in Buffalo. Sure. Anyway, and so the first person that saw me said, "Hey, is there any way I could buy a pair of those pants?"
Because I was just thinking the same thing. Are those still available? I'd like a pair of those.
Not that I know of, but I still have one new pair that I bought from member 57, whoever he was.
Enjoy the rest of the day and the weekend. I really think Matt Carter said it best. This activity brings us together, brings people of such diversity, such different ages, and we all have this touchstone that we love and we care about. Here's to the next 50 years, Steve.
Well, friends, this would have been one of the high points of the week for me, introducing my Goomba, Michael Cesario, once part of the three Goombas on DCI TV, along with DeLucia. However, the doctor says, no, 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 right, Michael?
The doctor said, you're not going to Indy, and I actually listened to the doctor. So there you have it. Missing the 50th anniversary. I'm beside myself. I was one of the 650,000 people who were at the first DCI championship. Actually, I wasn't there. I was there the second year. But every time I hear it, there's more people than could possibly fit in the Whitewater Stadium.
Well, here you are now, and we wanted the whole idea with you keynoting this gala is to give some of your perspective from, number one, all your years in the activity as a designer and a creator, and then as the guru, if you will, the show king. Give us a little bit of the backstory and how you have seen this thing evolve from your perspective.
Well, I think that this is the most amazing thing. First of all, you got to congratulate everybody in every room for their resourcefulness, for their resilience in pulling things together, because what we faced in terms of COVID, in terms of so many limitations, should have knocked us out. And instead, these cores have come back stronger and actually more interesting for what they bring in us. I'm just thrilled with the ability of Drum Corps International just be the comeback kids. And I salute the directors and the instructors and the writers, but most of all, the members, the performers who are making it so amazing. I remember, as you say, when I started out those many years ago, which by the way is Jay Kennedy's fault. He introduced me to Don Angelica, and that was the end of that. But I remember a lot of smoke-filled rooms with old guys, and I went, oh man, yeah. And now I found out I'm one of the old guys. We just don't have any smoke-filled rooms anymore.
Hey, we're the institutional memory now. Isn't that frightening?
I am more than happy to take that on. And one of these days I'm going to write my version of what I think happened. But you're right, Steve. I really think that one of the things that we need to preserve is our history and what we've come through to get to this point. And that's a lot of stuff, not just internal arguments over 3 valves and 2 valves. Yes, we actually argued about that. But and whether we'd have an inspection. But rather the fact that that's part of our history. It's why we do so much of what we do. And how, there's no reason to have girls with guns. We really shouldn't have rifles at all. But the fact is, it is part of our priceless cultural heritage. And so we respect that and we salute that and we continue to do so in so many areas. So I look at the old room full of guys and I look at the new room full of men, women. It's just a growth spurt that I think we deserve. And I'm delighted to see so many talented people putting their foot in the DCI pool and coming out with some really interesting things.
We have changed so much. What have been some of the best creative changes that you think you've seen in your time?
Well, getting rid of all of those boundaries. There's still boundaries, there's still boundary rules, but not so restricted as you can put your foot over this line at this time, but not that line until this. It was a nightmare of restrictions. The charm of a Don Warren, a Jim Jones, was that they knew what the cores were going through and said, no, this is for us, by us. And so we're going to determine the rules. And they're going to move slowly. We had bugles. What are you going to do? You got to play your bugles. But over time, we had better drums, the pit, the introduction of the pit. I keep thinking of Bob Morrison putting on rental instruments on the top of baritone cases in order for the kids to play. And the fact that we no longer ride in rolling coffins. I mean, the idea is some of those old buses shake the living bejesus out of me today. But at the time, it was the best we could do and was still the standard. So it's a head scratcher, because some things that we've rethought again. And I think it's ongoing. You know, George Oliviero always says at every fall, at every September, looking back and looking forward. And when we look back and see the type of players we're getting, the type of musician, the type of arrangements, and the ability of the actual instruments to be able to play those things, instead of saying, can't do that, A flat, we're on our way. Drumming the same way. It's orchestral. It's not kind of random hammering, or even the very, very best of our old style regimental. It's new. It goes with the music. The color guards certainly have changed. Nobody's passing in review. In fact, I could use that. Right now, we have a big fashion for no hats. Don't ask me what that's about, but the beauty is that it's always comes up from the corps. It's instructors getting together and voting and arguing, and then it's the directors listening to what's going on and having the foresight to say, they want that, let's see what we can do about that. Sometimes it's cost us a lot of money to do it. But maybe there's a clarity and a simplification that will come when somebody says that's too much. And that's always happened.
In your years as artistic director, how many years, by the way?
Really 8, but 7 where I could say, do that or die.
Okay. What was your goal during all that? Do you think you hit the mark that you had set for yourself?
I didn't set any mark for myself. I helped them set a mark for themselves, the corps. They had to be more entertaining, and we tried not to use that word. I used to say, you've got to be compelling. And I think we backed off that a little bit, but it'll come back. Honest, it will. But the idea was to be compelling and to be unique, so that there was no mistaking one corps for the other. They had to be the best that they were. And the identity of those corps had to be true. If this was your background, that is not necessarily that background. So why are you wearing something that looks like this guy? Why are you doing this guy's drill? Stop. Your own thing. And then making sure that the judges who are willing to do it, making sure that the judges were able to see that was an orange and that was an apple, and go, is that the best orange possible? Is that the best apple possible? And they did that. So in the time from when I started to when I ended, 4 different corps won. This is not marching band. This is not WGI. We are marching music's major league, and we need to stand up for the best, the most important, and the most generous to our friends and our fans. I hope friends and fans are the same thing.
Well, you got a room full of them here. Any farewell message for them?
Hey, thanks for all these great years. 50 years, which means we started when I was born. Actually, I'm the same age as the Cavaliers, 1948. Go figure it out. But I can't believe that we've made it through together. People who have no business knowing each other know each other through drum corps. Thank you.
I love that guy. The only thing that bothers me about him is he's just so shy about expressing his opinion. He's doing okay, by the way. It's a precaution, and Michael's just a hoot, so I'm glad we were able to link up like that. So we've gotten the old-timer perspective. The refreshing thing, and as I look about this room, and a lot of you have direct interactions with the kids, with the members of today, gosh, whenever I have the rare chance to be around them, I feel really good. I'm confident about the future, and I just feel good about what we're doing. I think we ought to hear directly from them.
It was a really, really fun run. It's amazing to be back here in Lucas Oil Stadium, back here in Indianapolis. For so many of our members, this was their first run in this stadium. I know they were all enjoying it, and I think that we all just really had a great time just now.
We've got like 3 different questions, kind of past, present, and future. So as you look back from 2019 until now, first of all, when did you join?
This is actually my first year with Gold.
It is your first year?
Yes, it is.
You were involved in the marching arts before this in high school?
Yes, I was.
When you reflect on the last 3 years, getting from 2019 to now, what do you think about it?
I just see progress. I see everyone working so hard to be the best Gold that we can be. I think everyone here, whether it's their first year, whether it's their 5th year, everyone just wants to be the best that we can possibly be. And I think we've all seen it really pay off, and we've all felt how much growth there's been, and we're all really, really happy about it.
In this moment, DCI's 50th anniversary, pretty special. What does
Absolutely.
that anniversary mean to you?
To me, it means that there are so many people who have invested so much in this, and there's 50 years of that connection. That's one of the things that I find really special about drum corps, is you can meet someone anywhere, and if they've marched, whether it's your corps or somewhere else, you have that connection. You automatically have something to talk about, have something that you've bonded over, because we've all been a part of this thing, and having 50 years of that is just incredible. There's so many generations of people. There's so many people all over the world that we all have this amazing connection.
Okay, look ahead 50 years. Where do you think DCI is going?
Honestly, it's hard to tell. Everything is changing so fast even right now, but I think that it'll still be going strong in 50 more years, and I think that we will have this amazing community even more widespread, and I just think that it's just going to keep growing and growing and getting bigger and bigger, and it's going to be a bigger community, but also a closer knit one, because we will all get to know so many more people, and it's just going to be awesome.
It's probably felt like our strongest one, I think.
Carlin Weisinger from Gold.
So, yeah, lots of good energy tonight. So this year was my age out, in 2019 was my first summer. So, kind of done the full circle type thing with my first year. Now I'm an age out, with the horn sergeant and all that stuff. It's just been really cool to see how I've developed as a person, as a performer through the drum corps activity. It means so much history. This activity is something so many of us love. And the fact that we get to participate in the 50th anniversary is huge. So I'm super honored and blessed to be able to participate in this weekend's events. Hopefully growth, just keep expanding, keep entertaining crowds, giving young individuals a place to grow and develop as humans and performers.
That was Ethan Hecker of the Madison Scouts.
How was that run for you?
That was incredible.
Yeah, compare it to recent shows.
I think it's my favorite so far. San Antonio was definitely one of the top ones, but this crowd was incredible.
Great crowd. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, kind of past, present, and future, okay? DCI's 50th anniversary. First of all, 2022, being back out on the field competing, from where we were 3 years ago, what does that mean to you?
It's exciting. I was going to start my DCI career in 2020 with the Boston Crusaders, and unfortunately, COVID happened. And I wasn't able to come back for 2021, so this is like a dream come true to be here finally.
Is this your age out year?
No, I still have 1 more year left.
Good, okay. So what does the 50th anniversary mean to you?
I think obviously it screams history. My uncle marched in the 70s, and he got to see me in Allentown, which was the first show he's been to in like 20 years. So it was really exciting to be able to show him what it's become, and he was really excited.
I love that intergenerational part of drum corps. What is your uncle being in and having that family tie? What does that mean to you?
It makes this feel more like a home. It's exciting, and when I got to see him after the show, he was just like, "Wow, this is incredible." You know, he's a drummer too, so it was just he was really excited to see where we've gotten so far.
Well, we've come so far in 50 years. You look back at 1972 to 2022. Where do you think we'll be in 2072 in another 50 years?
It's a lot of years.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I hope still here. You know, I hope still doing what we're doing, and you know, more people, more diversity in the activity, more people teaching, more diversity in the teaching sphere. Yeah, I hope to be able to be a part of that someday. So.
I hope you are too. Thank you, Cal.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it.
And Cali Choir, the Boston Crusaders. "50 years. Don Warren, Jim Jones having a little chat in the men's room in Delavan, Wisconsin. Hey, we got the act, and here we are. Let's see, gas prices were 36 cents a gallon back then. All in the Family was a #1 TV show back then. The Godfather was the #1 movie at the box office. Wouldn't that have been fun to switch Archie and Marlon Brando? Yeah, I got a deal here for you. Boy, a lot has changed in 50 years, but the nature of what we do, why we do it, and those who do it really, really hasn't deep down. We want to, well, I'll get to the housekeeping here in just a little bit. One of the biggest thing that happened in 50 years, take your book and open it up to that first inside page. I want you to look at the young whippersnapper. Yeah, you got to flip it to the second page. I'm sorry. There's a young whippersnapper in there with, I think it's brown hair in that upper left corner. It ain't brown no more, my friends. One of the, pleasures, I guess is really the right word for me, over these years was meeting that guy when he took over and forming a bond of respect, much less a friendship, for Mr. Dan Acheson. This organization would not be where it is. In fact, I don't know if we would be at all today if it were not his steady hand, his calm, deliberate leadership. God bless him, he has more patience than Job. It is a man who can suffer fools gladly, and he's had to suffer a bunch. I just would hate to be on the receiving end of his telephone, much less the other things he has to deal with. This is the man. This is the man who's got us here with more than 25 years of service as DCI's leader. I am so proud and privileged to introduce to you our CEO, Dan Acheson.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I forgot rule number 1, never follow the kids. Good Lord, how could I have missed that? Good morning, and thank you for the generous gift of your presence, as well as your treasure for helping support the Leaders Serving Leaders program. I'm grateful to Sue Keenhold, Sarah Rabin, Jeff Hardowitz, Steve Rondinaro, Dan Potter, and countless other DCI staff and volunteers for making this a wonderful event. And we also should Not that they hear this directly, but when we think about where we are in this world, I have to thank the Marriott team and the people that showed up to work today so that we could celebrate as we are here. Very grateful to them. Happy 50th anniversary Drum Corps International, right? Pretty awesome. We have so very much for which to be grateful. We're able to gather not only here, but down in that stadium, down the street, where, we've done this thing for 50 years, and we get to keep doing it. A remarkable achievement in any human endeavor. An achievement that all of us today share with powerful memories, backbreaking work, and an unparalleled passion to deliver on the promise that what we do does change lives. Lord knows it's changed all of ours. All that we have endured as an activity over the past 5 decades makes all of this nothing short of impossible. To fully grasp the resilience of the Drum Corps experience, all one needs to do is have a 5-minute conversation with a 2022 Corps director. The people in charge of ensuring the perpetuation of the Drum Corps experience today. They're all exhausted. They have no doubt wanted to stop at several points these past few weeks, but they persist. And why? Well, we all know the answer, but we have to say it. The simple answer they will give is for the performers, our most precious reason for being. Despite the hours of angst, care and concern, frustration over logistics, and just one damn thing after another, they have not yielded. I know in my heart that the likes of Warren, Howard, Jones, Mahan, Campshire, Royer, Pessioni, Sini, Jones, they're all very proud of these directors today, and I know I am. Thank you. The DCI endeavor has been a journey of a series of moments over 50 years. One very important moment has to be acknowledged because we're here in Indianapolis, Indiana. As fate would have it, there was a little meeting that happened in December 1971 in the shadow of the American Legion National Rules Convention, where a group of folks got together and they decided that they wanted to create their own association to focus on nothing but the health, growth, and development of this crazy thing. People that agreed to make personal and organizational commitments to each other to form this new organization. To this day, I have not been able to answer the question, what the hell were they thinking? But we're indeed glad they did not dwell on that too much. They just did it. And we are so grateful. When one reflects over 50 years in time, there's the inevitable comparison of then and now. Marching timpani, G bugles, high mark time. I did that pretty well, didn't I, Paul Leteau? Okay. And ticks. My goodness, the ticks. Well, they've given away to electronics and trombones and ballet and adjudicating apples, oranges, and manhole covers. Since 1972, we've seen sharks on the field, the Wicked Witch, we've seen angels, we've seen demons, we've seen the Phantom, or did we, right? We've seen pirates, and on and on. And of course, some of my iconic visual moments that I enjoyed, the bottle dance, oh my goodness gracious. Company fronts that evolve, and they dissolve. Amazing. Wedges and wheels and Z-poles and ghost lamps, running Buicks, electronic note bending, purple pants, Old Man River, green machines, and yes, pink elephants. The evolution of the act these 50 years has been an amazing example of what can happen when an activity controls its own destiny. Or is it when the inmates run the asylum? Drum Corps International has also evolved as a business as has each of the corps that participate. It is this evolution that keeps the drum corps experience moving forward to meet the expectation of the current year performers. It is also the evolution over 50 years that has allowed this activity and the respective organizations that participate to be as resilient as they have become. While not without a few bumps and bruises along the way, and okay, some downright kicks in the gut, Drum Corps International has reemerged. And marching music's major league has never been more relevant nor more important in the music education ecosystem. With all the usual humility and gratefulness, I gotta say, damn, this DCI thing is pretty cool after 50 years. We've had some incredible defining moments both on and off the field. These moments have been created by people, by you. When we think about the cast of characters that have passed through the activity these past 50 years, oh my. When we do the compare to today to 50 years ago thing, and when we consider the personalities of this activity, have we really evolved? Seriously. The essence of the DCI experience has not been defined by a trophy or even the achievement of the ultimate performance. It has been defined by the people who share in the journey, regardless of their role, with relentless passion and intention. Each of us holds a very personal relationship with the Drum Corps experience. As well, we value our connection with each other and being a part of a much larger community. And in honor of a dear founder, Dr. Campshire, I've taken the liberty with a George Bernard Shaw quote that likely puts into context where this awesome collection of humans is today after DCI's first 50, and that is to say, this is the true joy in life, being used for a purpose recognized by ourselves as a mighty one, being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself in making us happy. We are of the opinion that our life belongs to the whole community. And as long as we live, it is our privilege to do it, to do what we can for the community. It is a sort of a splendid torch which we have got hold of for the moment, and we want to make sure it shines as brightly as possible before handing it over to future generations. Okay, I'm done with that. Right through that. Again, it's following those kids. Something in our drum corps experience inspired us to be here in this moment. Someone or several people impacted our lives so profoundly on this activity that we felt it important to gather in this celebration to acknowledge what we have accomplished through our collective vision and mission, to perpetuate the experience of a lifetime that we hold near and dear to our hearts, and to make sure that it is there for whoever dreams to want to be a part of it. If you have a concern for the future of DCI or the drum corps experience, all you need to do is to look into the eyes of the performers before, during, and after their performance. Just like you and I have done in the past, or perhaps currently, when they are ready, they will take the wheel. If we have done this right by them, they will lead DCI to an unimaginable future. It will be different. We may not like what it becomes, but I know with every fiber of my being, it will be an awesome activity filled with passionate people on an incredible journey together to create an experience of a lifetime. I want to thank our DCI partners, our strategic partners that are with us today, Hall of Fame members, DCI Board of Directors, DCI staff, event staff, Corps boards members. Oh my God, what you do. Admins, creators and designers, instructors, volunteers, judges, moms and dads, and fans. And of course, my 2022 heroes, the corps directors, for everything that you have given and will continue to give this great activity. The performers are without question why we all do what we do. What you have provided and often sacrificed in order to set them up for success as performers in the competition of life is the true essence of what we celebrate this week. Thank you.
Everything great and meaningful and special in my life over the last 30 years, I can 1 degree of separation it to drum corps.
I am where I am today because of the tenacity and the power that comes from just putting in a good day's work. And even though you know you had 100 things on your list and you might have only got 3 done, tomorrow's another day. You come and tackle it again, and you know your team has your back.
Just having that work ethic to keep grinding and keep working on something until it's absolutely perfect.
Their passion and desire to be absolutely the best that they can, and I know it sounds cliche, but watching their eyes when they perform keeps me coming back year after year.
I think about every little stop I've been and the people that I've been able to be around and the things I've been able to learn. I am so forever grateful.
Going through everything you have to go through to put together a show and to put together a performance, no matter what level you're on, is an experience that will stay with kids, hopefully forever.
You learn to work with people, all different kinds of personalities, all different kinds of people from different walks of life.
I was thrown into a pot and stirred up with people that were nothing like me, and, learned that, wow, we're all really pretty much the same deep down inside. And I think that experience is really valuable, especially today when there's so much divisiveness. Drum corps is an opportunity to really connect with people in a very meaningful way.
Every political angle, every sexual orientation, we have age groups, you have different races. And, I look at groups that I was with as a child and I see that people are still communicating with each other, and you see pictures where they're hanging out and you go, it doesn't need to be any more important than that, really.
You may not like electronics, you may not like what you see out there on the field. I know that the one thing that hasn't changed is when our students engage this activity, that it fundamentally changes their lives forever.
Whether they marched in the 60s or whether they are marching right now, they form lifelong friendships. They're in each other's weddings. They're a part of each other's lives forever.
They're gonna go out and make the world a better place. And when you and I are in a nursing home and don't even know where we are, those are the people I want making the decision for our country, because they get it.
I love that quote from Nola. Thank you, Mr. Blair. That was his work that we just witnessed. A little bit of housekeeping here. Make sure you collect your QR cards, redeem your prizes. Sue says the auction, you can buy it now. And whatever little technical issues we had, there will be emails going out, and then we'll get all that done. Sue, am I good? I've learned about Sue's tenacity. I don't want to be on the wrong side of it. Are we okay? Okay, thumbs up. Don't forget the centerpieces, and you got to leave the vases, but you can take everything else. Okay, so my goal for the next 50 years is how do we get back on TV? I think we're missing that ingredient in our outreach, and we got to pull that off. So I know there are a lot of bright people in this room. Let's figure out how to do it. We got the product. Some of the stuff that's on TV now, good Lord. I mean, the Midwestern Cornhole Championships are exciting, I got to admit, but Good heavens, we belong there. Hey, tonight, the semis, wait till you see this Blue Coat Alumni Corps. 450 strong. Woo! It's going to be something, and that these alumni corps that have come back here year after year is just, it's part of the magic. It ties that loop together, which is what we are celebrating here today, and they are going to bring it home to us in big, loud, glorious 40 tuba autumn leaves and boxers and all kinds of things. There are bottles of wine on your table. They are courtesy of Mr. Sal Leone's winery. Sal was a former Corps director with Seattle Cascades. You are free to take them. Meantime, whatever you got handy, it's pretty hard to top Mr. Acheson, but I don't want to top. I just want to pile on. To those who came before us, to those who are here doing it now, and to those who will come ahead in the future, to a healthy Drum Corps International. Hear, hear. Damn, that's good water. Friends, thank you. I hope you see fit to mingle and tell stories. I do want you to make sure you absolutely stop by the Drum Corps History Experience in the Convention Center. It's Hall K. It's really cool. There is some neat stuff in there. Celebrate the past. Thank you, thank you, thank you.